Namaskar and welcome to this very special and exclusive interaction with top-line ISRO women scientists present here with me, highly distinguished women scientists who played a stellar role in successful launch of mission Chandrayaan 3. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a huge round of applause? You're watching this. Thank you. You're watching this special broadcast on DD News and DD India, national broadcasters, which we bring to you from the sidelines of the 5th edition of India STEM Summit and Awards 2023. Sharing my experience here because I feel absolutely inspired and humbled to share space with highly accomplished women scientists of ISRO who have played stellar role not only in the successful launch of Chandrayaan 3, but the entire journey of Chandrayaan and much beyond. We do know that there are other missions that are also underway. We've already almost covered 3 planets, and we will want to know, are we going ahead with the rest of the 7 or not? This session is going to be celebrating Chandrayaan 3's success, and these ISRO women luminaries are going to share their experiences, their stories, challenges, and those moments where they must have thought, what if Chandrayaan 3, the whole plan doesn't fall in place, what happens next? But most importantly, their contribution in Chandrayaan 3 has been highly indispensable. It's a pleasure and honor to once again introduce on this show with us. I'm going to start with the face who needs no introduction, sitting right on my right. Dr. Ritu Karidhal Srivastava, Scientist G, renowned as Rocket Women of India. She holds dual role as scientist and aerospace engineer with ISRO, Deputy Operations Director for India's iconic Mars orbiter mission Chandrayaan as well. Yes, you can put your hands together once again. No matter how much we applause, वो भी कम पड़ेगा. हमारे साथ है नंदिनी हरिरथ, Scientist G. Nandini Harirath again. They're all actually very familiar faces by now. She has had 2 decades of body of work within ISRO with profound contributions, and as we count, there are 14 missions Nandini ma'am has manned and has also contributed. Please put your hands together for Nandini ma'am. Her role as a project manager and mission designer has also propelled Chandrayaan 3's success, and also she's associated with Chandrayaan project. Let's also put our hands together with Miss Kalpana K. Miss Kalpana K, can we have Miss Kalpana K and a huge round of applause. Kalpana K, she has led the team successfully in the soft landing on moon. You know that moment? That moment where we all went like, heart skips the beat, but then, oh, ho gaya. She is also the one who has been responsible for that moment. Thank you very much, Kalpana K, for being with us, Associate Director, Chandrayaan 3. Also welcoming Miss Seena Sunil, Scientist G. Seena Sunil, Scientist G. Let's have it for her also. She's associated with various missions, Chandrayaan 1, 2, and 3. There are lots of stories जो हम आपसे जानना चाहेंगे. And Chandrayaan, Mission Aditya, Mission Gaganyaan as well. Thank you so much. Put your hands together for Miss Gomati Saratha, Scientist G, involved in Chandrayaan mission. She has been involved in this mission right from its inception. Especially, she has also been playing a very important role as an operations director for Chandrayaan 1 and Chandrayaan 2 and Chandrayaan 3 as well. The main operations, the critical operations. Thank you very much, Gomati Saratha, for joining us. Gomati Saratha here right on my right. And let's also put our hands together for Miss Rupa MV. Miss Rupa MV, Scientist G, Deputy Project Director, Chandrayaan 3, responsible for controlling Chandrayaan 3 mission, commanding, tracking, health analysis, and the list is endless. My God. This is so much. This is really too much, ma'am. The body of work that you all share. Dr. Kalpana Arvind is with us. Dr. Kalpana Arvind. Dr. Kalpana Arvind, she is an outstanding scientist and also Associate Director. She's here on my left. Associate Director, LEOS, which is also a unit of ISRO. Her responsibilities includes delivery of all types of sensors, Now sensors are very important. उसके बिना तो कुछ हो नहीं सकता. Eyes of satellites, and they are the sensors which are flown in orbiter, Vikram rover, and much more. So I'm going to quickly start because मैंने बहुत बोला मैम, अब आपसे सुनना है. आप ही से शुरुआत करेंगे. तो सबसे पहले तो रॉकेट वुमेन ऑफ इंडिया से हम जानना चाहेंगे वो जो कुछ सेकंड थे. You know what I'm going. Yes. कुछ सेकंड थे एंड मैं हमेशा से ये सोचती थी कि मुझे मौका मिलेगा तो मैं ये पूछूंगी, थैंक्स फॉर द राइड मेट. ये कैसे आया?
देखिए, जैसे आपने बताया वो जो कुछ क्षण थे लास्ट के, वो इसलिए बहुत ज़्यादा महत्वपूर्ण थे या बहुत ज़्यादा मतलब टेंशन वाले भी थे क्योंकि उसके पहले हमने चंद्रयान 2 अटेम्प्ट किया था और चंद्रयान 2 वाज अ I can say it was a successful mission and its orbiter is still it is revolving around the moon. अभी भी बहुत सारे डेटास भेज रहा है, लेकिन जो उसका लैंडर था और हम सब ने बहुत मेहनत से वो काम किया था, विक्रम और प्रज्ञान, और सतह के बहुत पास आकर few meters away we lost the communication. तो वो जो क्षण थे उस समय, वो क्षण जब चंद्रयान 3 लैंड हो रहा था, तो वो क्षण ज़्यादा दिमाग पे चल रहे थे. क्योंकि इतना चैलेंज और इतना है, तो जो हमने उसमें इम्प्रूवमेंट्स किए हैं चंद्रयान 3 में, क्योंकि उससे जो हमने लेसन्स लर्न किए, तो जैसे आपने बोला राइट थिंग ढूंढना, तो वो जो लेसन्स लर्न थे, बिकॉज इन चैलेंजिंग मिशंस में जो चुनौतियां होती हैं, वो हमारे पास बहुत सी ऐसी चीज़ें होती हैं जो हमें पता ही नहीं होती हैं कि हो सकता है कि वो कुछ गड़बड़ हो जाए. दैट इज कॉल्ड अननोन अननोन्स. So that is not.
So there are known unknowns and unknown unknowns.
Unknowns. So we were not knowing कि हो सकता है, मतलब ये आइडिया भी नहीं है, थोड़ा सा भी नहीं होता है कि ये गलत हो सकता है. लेकिन उस फेलियर ने जो हमें डेटा दिया, उससे जो हमें लर्निंग्स मिली, वी गॉट वेल्थ ऑफ डेटा. So it was, I can say that Chandrayaan 2 itself was a successful mission which laid the path for the successful Chandrayaan 3, because it gave us so much of learning, so much of improvement we could adapt in Chandrayaan 3 Vikram. And that is how that last moments I was really, I can remember, and I was only remembering those Chandrayaan 2 moments. And then when Chandrayaan 3 landed, it was like,
finally Chandrayaan 3.
It was unexplainable moments. I think Kalpana will share with me. It was unexplainable.
We saw you on TV on the live broadcast that day.
Thank you. Yes, as Ritu has rightly started, Chandrayaan 2 was a very challenging mission, as you know, because it is quite different from the routine communication satellites or the remote sensing satellites which we used to do. We did have a Chandrayaan 1 orbiting mission, but next Chandrayaan 2 was a total different ball game because it was a landing mission. It's a mix of satellite and rocket technologies. We as a team did our best. We learned many new things, new advanced technologies, and we did our best and did go ahead with Chandrayaan 2. But we did not reach the final goal of soft landing, but we had learned a lot of new things from that mission, because almost all the advanced technologies what we had built, we had proven it actually. So that was the beginning. So, but we had to succeed and show what we really planned for. That's how Chandrayaan 3 was built. But when we started off for Chandrayaan 3, we did it in a very systematic way. Yes, we had the pressure that we are going for the second time. It's a big responsibility on our team, on our shoulders, but we did it in a very systematic way.
What was the kind of success rate that, were there moments when the team thought that, what if?
Moments will be there, but without that 200% success, we wouldn't have rolled out the satellite from our URO satellite center. When we rolled out, it was with utmost confidence that we went ahead, because we know the responsibility on our shoulders. So whatever required, be it the reconfiguration of the satellite, that is the lander, or the robustness what we built in the lander, because this time what we did was all the intelligence which is required on the lander, that we had built it, because you all know that complete 20 minutes what happened is a complete autonomous landing sequencer. Like you all, we also don't have an option but to only sit and watch. All the challenge what we had was build the intelligence in the lander, that the lander can handle a big amount of dispersion. That is what we call more efficiently the lander can handle the dispersion cases. That's what we built in. And apart from that, building it or reconfiguring alone is not sufficient. but we have to do enormous testing on ground before we send it, because you all know the moon environment is different, the earth environment is different, but we have to build the confidence of ensuring that lander is going to work very well on the moon. So the enormous amount of testing and also the simulations what we did, all this put together, I would say the culmination of all these four aspects, I would say, is the confidence what we built, and we rolled out the satellite from UR Rao Satellite Center to our launch base, Sriharikota.
And what a moment it was. What a moment it was.
Yes. And further, what happened, all of you would have seen it live, be it the launch or the landing. That was the ultimate moment. And what we all cherished, I would say, is it was not just a success of our scientific community or engineering community. It was a success which whole nation celebrated. It had become every household name. I think this was the ultimate satisfaction which our team had obtained from this mission. It has reached irrespective of age, from
absolutely
children
it brought
to
the whole
senior
nation
most.
together.
Yes,
There is
that was the
absolutely
most.
no doubt about it. And I think you would agree that apart from cricket, this was one of those, TV moments. Everyone was, okay, thank you. Everyone in the household was glued to TV sets, glued to Doordarshan, our Doordarshan, irrespective of whether we understand the nitty-gritties of science or not. I think this was something which scripted history for the nation. And I think आगे चल के हमें काफी कुछ और भी स्क्रिप्ट करना है. हम मंगलयान पे काम कर ही रहे हैं. हम सूरज के पास भी जाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. उसके अलावा हमारे पास 7 और ग्रह हैं. हम आगे क्या-क्या कुछ करने वाले हैं. मैम, नंदिनी मैम.
Thank you. While we worked for Mangalyaan 1, and I was like involved from the scratch when the project came in. And at that point of time, none of us had any experience in working for an interplanetary mission. It was the first time we had all started reading about, how to start and how to design and develop an interplanetary mission. So we've all been groomed from there, and it was like hours and hours of work. Um, uh, After Mangalyaan, of course, the Chandrayaan series, and then now the satellite is going towards the Lagrange point. It's not going close to sun, but it's just going at 1% distance to the sun.
Okay, can you explain it?
Yeah. So Aditya L1, the sun is 150 million kilometers away, and the satellite will be going to a point 1.5 million kilometers away. The speciality of this point is that at that point, the gravitational forces of the sun and the earth nullify. So it's called a stable point. And the advantage the point gives us is that you have an observation to the sun.
We'll be the first nation to be as close to the sun?
There are missions earlier who've gone, but the speciality about this mission is that it carries various amount of instruments which will study the entire aspect of the sun, whether it's the coronal mass ejections or the solar flares. So, in fact, it has instruments which have wavelengths right from the ultraviolet to the infrared. So we'll be.
This is so exciting.
Yeah. And like these are interplanetary missions are always challenging, and they bring about so many surprises and so many new elements. And there are study groups working towards missions to other planets. We don't have the projects approved as yet, but as study teams, a lot of work is going on, a lot of research is going on how to reach other planets. And in fact, asteroids are also interesting bodies to study. So there's a big asteroid belt, and there are studies for that too.
Yeah, Kalpana ji, just to add further to it, we would also like to know, besides the whole mission aspect, whatever you can share with us, uske alawa, the whole journey for a woman scientist, balancing home, and I can see all of you nodding, balancing home responsibilities, and I think this kind of work where you have humongous national responsibilities on your shoulder and they are non-negotiable, whether it is Chandrayaan 1 or 2, and then back home you're a wife, you're a homemaker, you're a mother also. I would want to understand from you, especially after Chandrayaan 2, the kind of sacrifices each one of you made, and what has been your biggest support system from on the family front?
Thank you for that question, because this question applies to all the women who were very, very aspiring to become a scientist or a doctor or in any profession. Women are, earlier it was considered like they are only closed door inside the house and only to cook. Now the technology, when we started engineering in the years 1980s, people used to ask why a woman has to study engineering. Now the thing has fully reversed. For the past 3 decades, I'm seeing there are women scientists, and even in ISRO itself, we are almost nearing 33% in most of the centers. And in my own unit, I can tell we are almost 40% women are there. So that is
Yes,
the way
huge round of applause.
ISRO is going forward, and I can say there is no gender bias in ISRO. And how we manage, because not everybody can come to the top, because we have to balance between the house and the office. If you see in any organization or even at MNCs, the number of employees or the women who are in the topmost is very few. We can count it. It's because we are still lying between the thin line between the family and the office. So to manage these two, our family support should be there. If that is not there, it is really very difficult for a woman to lead. So earlier there was a quote like, for every successful man there is a woman behind it. But now I'll say, for every successful woman there is a family support behind it.
So there must have been thousands or rather lakhs of known and unknown scenarios that you and your team, hypothetical scenarios that the entire team would have worked on, and thousands hours of research as run up to Chandrayaan 3. I mean, when you think of it, it is like, kya ye ho bhi sakta hai?
Yes, definitely. Chandrayaan, our team responsibility was each and every command, whatever the command goes to satellite, it is our responsibility. And the telemetry, whatever from the Chandrayaan 3 we are receiving, the telemetry we have to analyze, health analysis, and if any correction measures that we have to do. For that, so much ground system also we have to make it ready. For Chandrayaan 3, it is not one ground antenna or two ground antenna. We made ready for 25 antennas around the globe, made ready, and out of 25, almost 18 antenna we used it for Chandrayaan 3 operations. And communication established from all antennas to our center. For everything, we see that the perfection and do a lot of simulations, because we don't know the unknown
Unknown nodes, unknown nodes.
roles in that, because each and every format of Chandrayaan 3 should support by each and every antenna or each and every system in that. So complete ground system readiness for this is also one challenging is what.
But at the end, all fell in place, ma'am. Can you take us through the experience?
I just want to tell, see, I joined with Kalpana madam that this time in Chandrayaan 3, the country was with us, even every moment, you know. So normally any success in ISRO, we celebrate as the team ISRO success. So this time it was the nation success.
Absolutely.
So that we have to tell. Then about my experience, basically I'm a mechanical engineer. So when I took my mechanical engineer, there were a lot of issues because very few girls only coming forward for mechanical engineering, and I was also worried it will be more of automobile and the boys domain. So when just joined ISRO, just felt that it is totally different, this one. As Dr. Sitaram was telling, it was basically a multidisciplinary topic. Where I work in the ground station antennas. It consists of mechanical engineering, it consists of electrical engineering, and it is more of radio frequency, RF engineering, and electronics, and different materials. So what I feel, there are a lot of opportunities for the young girls and also for the boys. Once you are coming to ISRO, you have to be a multidisciplinary person. You should not restrict yourself to the domain.
Ma'am?
It is like a mix of.
The word Chandrayaan, it's the word started in 2001 onwards, which like first the name coined with Somayana, and the name is Chandrayaan. The word itself is a very interesting word for us. And from the journey behind for this Chandrayaan is 20 years back, where the 2 decades back, our seniors, many things they have done, and they left us for the things to move forward. The way when we started Chandrayaan 1, there was no Google that time, there was no internet that time. So we were searching for each and everything, how to capture the moon, how to go out of Earth. That was the first experience which we had. How to go out of Earth. We are always bound with Earth. So that was the first time which we went for the Chandrayaan 1, and when we captured, that was a very interesting experience which we had in 2008. And the impact probe when we had and when we went to Jawaharlal. So that was an impact when the first Indian flag which came to the moon. So that was an interesting experience for us, and the Chandrayaan name itself came into the coin and when it landed there. The next the successor of this Chandrayaan 2. When Chandrayaan 2 was launched and when we got into a moment, when we couldn't land, and we are continuously taking images for the next 4 or 5 days where to search the lander. Because it is not a way where here we can go and take with the police and these things.
I'll just interrupt you here. Ma'am is so beautifully telling us about the entire journey 1, 2, and 3. How did you all actually overcome that challenge of coming out of that failure, if ma'am can take that one, and move on? It is not easy, ma'am.
Yes, because I would say Chandrayaan 3 itself is the best example for everyone, particularly for the students and every other person here, how to come out of a failure. Failure can never be our definition. I think Chandrayaan is an example for that. Failure only should teach us more, actually. So it should not define us. That way, when Chandrayaan 2 landing didn't happen as planned, for a moment or for some short time, it was really sitting on our head because because we had put our heart and soul and work towards that. But it is what next is always what ISRO looks at, actually. How do we complete this mission? That's how Chandrayaan 3 was formed. But as I said, we went in a very systematic approach to complete this mission, because whatever data we got from Chandrayaan 2, that last bit of data what we got, we analyzed it thoroughly, actually. That itself was immense wealth of data which took us forward for Chandrayaan 3. So what happened really, we understood. We had a failure analysis committee. We looked at the data and what are the things which we have to rectify. First is point number 1 was that, how do we rectify? So we moved forward, and then we built the next lander more and more robust manner, that it has all the intelligence, as I said, so that we can have 200% landing, soft landing on moon surface.
Sure.
That's what.
Let me ask you this one now, and then, in fact, this is for all of you. You want to add something?
Just on the failure part, what I think I feel is that failure helps a person to stay grounded. As it's success is important, no doubt, but success and failure, one should learn to take in the same stride. Failures, we always learn from failures, but once in a way, some failures are required. But that is when the next success will be more successful, and then you will have further more missions and further more learnings. So, and let me just. Yeah, so failures are painful, but like I said, they are also important. They teach you enormous things. And when you introspect and then you realize, oh my God, I wouldn't have realized this aspect of it if it was successful. I wouldn't have looked into every minute. Yeah, I'm not talking about Chandrayaan 2, but generally I'm saying, but the general philosophy is one needs to look at failures in the same way, or in fact, more importantly, as a part of success. Failures are a part of the bigger success. Yeah, that's it.
Beautiful. Amazing. Failures are the part of bigger success. Okay, so we can start from here, and then this question is for all of you. Uh, I think seconds into the launch, we had this extremely emotional message from our Honorable Prime Minister, right?
Yes.
And then after that, I think after a few days, you had a personal interaction. Team ISRO had a personal. Let's go through the moments. You want to share something with us?
Yes, actually, we were told that, Prime Minister is coming, and he came early in the morning. वो कहीं बाहर गए हुए थे और वहाँ से सीधे early morning he told that I want to see the scientists who worked behind Chandrayaan 3, and all were really very eager to listen to him. The way he really addressed all of us, मतलब उतना अपनापन दिखा करके और उतना सराहना जो उन्होंने encouragement
क्या
दिया,
कुछ कहा प्रधानमंत्री
बहुत
जी ने?
कुछ कहा उन्होंने। सबसे पहले तो इम्पोर्टेंस बताया कि इस चंद्रयान 3 के सक्सेस की वजह से हमारा देश विदेश में कितना मतलब लोगों ने उसको अप्रिशिएट किया है, और उसकी वजह से। और दूसरी चीज़ उन्होंने बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट रखी कि जो विमेन को इम्पोर्टेंस देते हुए उन्होंने लैंडिंग पॉइंट को एक नाम दे दिया। वो हमारे लिए एक होता है ना कि आत्मा, मतलब शरीर में आत्मा डाल देना वैसा, और जीवन डाल देना, तो उसको जो नाम दिया उन्होंने, शिव शक्ति पॉइंट,
शिव शक्ति,
मेन एंड विमेन टुगेदर, जो इक्वालिटी का उन्होंने एक सिग्नेचर दिया, दैट वाज रियली रियली
कोलैबोरेशन ऑफ मेन एंड वुमेन इन कंट्रीब्यूटिंग।
और सबसे बड़ी बात जो उन्होंने कही कि चंद्रयान 2 जहाँ पे लैंड हुआ था वो एक फेलियर नहीं है, उसको भी हम याद रखेंगे, उसको नाम दिया तिरंगा पॉइंट। तो ये जो दो चीज़ें उन्होंने बताई कि फेलियर्स को भी उन्होंने बताया कि इट्स नॉट एक्चुअल फेलियर, और सक्सेस विद बोथ मेन एंड विमेन साइंटिस्ट। ये हमारे लिए बहुत बहुत, फिर वो हमारे पास आए, मतलब ओनली टू मीट विद विमेन साइंटिस्ट, ही एनकरेज्ड ऑल ऑफ अस।
Interaction with the Prime Minister.
Yeah. As you rightly started with the beginning, the next to cricket is the Chandrayaan now. Yeah. This much popularity is because the PM's encouragement, whatever he had. As Ritu rightly pointed out, the way he came on Chandrayaan 2 that night, the whole night, entire nation was watching, including the PM. So that was really a stunning moment for us, and it was a failure, and we are thinking what to do next, and another is the next is all the people who are all like almost tears are there in everybody's eyes. That is the problem.
Former ISRO chief's one vision, image that will stay in nation's conscience, and the way Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, hugged him and embraced him. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
See, the name which our Honorable Prime Minister coined, the landing site where we landed as Shiv Shakti, it symbolizes the team effort which has gone in, because success is what we have seen. Because our team, Chandrayaan 3 team, is a mix of men and women, young team who have worked shoulder to shoulder. I would particularly refer to the last 4 years of work which has gone in, because the way the team has worked at odd times, there is no time limit, or there is, because many of the tests what we did on ground were in a campaign mode. So the way our team worked together, men and women together, the way we worked together and accomplished this mission, I think that particularly I was so happy for the name which he had coined. It symbolizes this team effort, which is the success which is the real success for this mission.
Beautiful. Yes, ma'am.
I'll tell you one
we'll
episode.
Yes.
I don't know if...
Sure. Please go ahead, and then we can...
That was the first time, actually, the Prime Minister came to ISRO, was during the Mangalyaan, the Mars orbit insertion. I think Ritu would remember that night, also that morning very vividly. The first time we all heard that the Prime Minister was coming to ISRO, we were a little bit, the first reaction was, oh, really? Because, no country had reached Mars or had a Mars orbit insertion in the first attempt. And we were doing it for the first attempt. And only 40% of the missions to Mars were successful. So with this background, though, like you said, there are so many, you do a zillion tests on the ground, but there's always something unknown sitting. And because it's all about the hardware needs to work after 9 months of travel to Mars. So then all these doubts and questions were there in the mind, and then we all heard he was coming. So, And then we had asked, one of our seniors related the story to us. It seems when he went, in fact, chairman went to the prime minister and told him that we are having this Mars orbit insertion. And then the prime minister asked him, okay, what are the chances that it'll be successful? Then he says, yeah, it should be successful. That's what we all think. But there is a probability that it can fail too. That's what chairman told him. And then the prime minister told him, it seems, at this moment, whether it's successful or if it's a failure, I want to be with you. I want to be. So, the fact that there is a chance of a failure, and he specifically wanted to be there at that moment.
No doubt,
That
yes.
is- that's
Yes, ma'am.
really true. During that Mangalyaan, it was morning 7:30 when we inserted into the Mars orbit 2014. Just before that, Prime Minister had come. One success, really, we were there nearly more than 300, 400 scientists, engineers. We were there in that room. He had come, each and every person, and he individually congratulated. So that is the patience he had, or he wanted to individually congratulate. Next, Chandrayaan 2, yeah, of course, he was with us, even though we were very upset, but the way he is motivated, we started thinking what went wrong. As Kalpana was telling, each and every part. It is not okay. One part we got okay. This is what the failure. With that, we didn't stop. In all systems, in all subsystems, where all improvement is required, that is a list what we have listed out, and each and everyone, we have each and everything in that list, we started correcting it. So in that way we had more confidence this time.
Yes.
Because of that, more and more simulations and so this time when he has come, really it was
Inspiring, extreme.
really, yeah,
Okay,
really,
yes, ma'am.
really.
Good.
I just wanted to tell one thing about his commitment to our work, what we were there. Wherever he was there, that launch day, our landing day, 23rd August, he was not with us. But he was online mode, he was monitoring continuously, he was there, and at the end of the day, he talked about it. But even after completing within 2 days from Greece, when he came and he wanted to meet us, it was really an enjoyable moment.
Somebody told me you should ask them the backstory. 4 साल क्या वो कभी घर गए? Or they made ISRO laboratories their home. You made ISRO laboratory. I think nation deserves to know this story, ma'am.
Yeah. In fact, I wanted to tell you, Chandrayaan 2 time, the way I traveled in Bangalore anyway, you know the traffic, 27 kilometers going up and down and attending all the things. I was a deputy project director for Chandrayaan 2. See the things, I decided I cannot travel like this, so I moved my home near to my office to meet Chandrayaan 3 work and to take care of my health also, so that I can guide my juniors.
What was the support of your family?
Support, yeah. Sometimes if I say, okay, today I can
There must have been
delay, I'll
difficult and
go,
challenging
but
moments.
family used to tell, no, it is you are doing a wonder. Please go
Okay.
to office. That is the support what family has given. So all these 4 years, it was really rigorous testing and
Sure.
preparation. The family has supported really.
Uske bina possible nahi.
Yeah, that is true. Without the family support is not possible.
Thank you very much for waiting so patiently, ma'am. Thank you so much for waiting patiently. Please, now it is all about you. Please talk.
No, I just want to recollect when Honorable PM came, even during the Mangalyaan, then subsequent to Chandrayaan 2, and then even for Chandrayaan 3, when he came and interacted with the women scientists, first thing what he told, see, now why can't you relax? Why can't you smile? you were all tense so many days. Why can't you just relax? So it was so comforting. So that way, Honorable PM was there with us from interplanetary mission started. So that way, we need to do much more now. So that is the demand. And now ISRO is going ahead with Aditya. So as you told, none of us, we had any free time after the Chandrayaan 3 also. We all started our
आप लोग सब mission mode में हैं.
Aditya preparatory, all Aditya
Like
related.
literally, they
operation.
are in mission mode now. Literally, yes.
Now we are getting into Gaganyaan first trial in this Saturday. So that way, again, the next phase started.
In a scientific community, for example, we're talking about ISRO or scientists for that matter, when you are, there is no discrimination.
Yes, that's what I was trying to tell. See, we are talking about women scientists, but I want to bring out that women scientists, and there were many men scientists who worked together. For example, like we are sharing our experiences, I want to share one of my colleague. When the failure happened, he showed me his mobile, that screensaver. He has put the screensaver as the hard landing of the Chandrayaan 2. And he never removed that screensaver till the Chandrayaan 3 successfully landed. So the people were attached, all the scientists were attached so much emotionally.
An emotional attachment.
Yeah, and then work when we didn't see this day or night. And yes, when we had to continuously work on it. Even women scientists, very young scientists, having kids of 2 years old, 3 years old kids, they have to come and continuously support the mission. So that was like the family, as everybody's telling, without family, their husbands are supporting, their mother-in-laws, mother, father, everybody's there calling from their hometown.
I can tell you one thing.
Duty, they're putting them on duty.
We were jumping with
duty.
joy. We were jumping with joy in our studios. I'm sure those who were watching it were also jumping with joy. But ma'am, when we saw those live, the first reaction, you were also one of the scientists. You all looked very composed. You were all composed, but you were just smiling. Why were you controlling your emotions?
No, it is, I would say it is controlling the emotions. It is like a mix of emotions. I really can't express in words.
Like it was not sinking in.
It was not sinking in at all. Yes, I would say that it was not sinking in at all. I just wanted to mention, when we are talking about women scientists here, so we have our project director is Dr. Veeramuthuvel, and myself as associate project director, and along with 33 deputy project directors and hundreds of project managers. This is our team structure, because we are just women here discussing about Chandrayaan, but it's a big team. So we as a team have worked together, and that day, myself and Dr. Veeramuthuvel, project director, we were nearby, and when the landing really happened, it is like a mix of emotions, because you can imagine it's years of work that has gone in, and that 20 minutes with our hearts pounding, we were looking towards the screen, and when it really happened, we are not able to really
grasp
what
really
and
happened.
It was not sinking in at all. Like the joy was not really coming out, because it was not getting it to our heads. Actually, it's a very mixed emotions what we went through. It was,
now we just can't stop smiling when thinking of it. Okay, let's ma'am, you want to say anything else?
That's fine.
Okay, so now if we can have questions or points from the audience. I can see many hands.
How ISRO choose the South Pole for landing, and give a brief of that.
Yeah, I will tell about it. Yes, actually rightly pointed out, चंद्रयान इसके पहले जितने भी लैंडिंग मिशंस हुए हैं, they are all on the equatorial belt. They're not gone beyond certain latitude about the equator. But Chandrayaan 2 से जो Chandrayaan 1 से जो data मिला, and many people now, there is a very good evidence कि polar region में बहुत सारे ऐसे minerals हैं, या evidence of water ice, all that is there, and there is a particular geometry which allows you to get sunlight for more number of days. You must be knowing that usually the 1 day of moon is 14 Earth days, and 1 night is 14 Earth nights. So there's certain region in those polar, if you go towards extreme polar points, you will get certain regions where you will get sunlight for more than 100 days or more than 140 days. So those regions are very, very, we can land there and we can survive there for more time. We can do more science. But then where we landed, that is also part of the southern region, around 70-degree latitude. So, but the most challenging part of those regions are, as you go more and more towards the southern part,
The creators were increased.
Pardon?
The creators were
Yeah,
increased.
so it is a full treacherous, I mean, the terrain is very, very treacherous. You have big craters, you have, boulders, hills of high hills. And the more challenging thing is, if you have high hills and the sun never rises, like here you see sunrise in the east, goes overhead and then sets in the west. That type of geometry is not there in southern region.
Okay.
So because of that, the long shadows are casted. So you have to ensure where you land, there is no shadow, there is proper sunlight. So with all that, and then you do good science, as I told.
Okay.
So that was a challenge.
Okay,
Yes.
one more question, sir.
Making the nation, national leadership, and upcoming generations proud. Thank you to the ISRO team. As a layman, I cherish two best parts of all these projects ISRO has done. पहला कि ऑटो के खर्चे में मंगलयान पहुंच गया. दूसरा, एक फिल्म में मैंने नोटिस की थी ये बात मंगलयान मिशन में कि होम साइंस कंट्रीब्यूटेड टू a lot for मिशन मंगल. तो प्लीज इज दैट ट्रू या वो केवल स्टोरी को इंटरेस्टिंग बनाने के लिए यूज किया गया था?
Yeah, I think the most part of the movie was fictional. The characters was fictional and the story was fictional. But what was good about the movie was it got the spirit right. So yeah, and the emotions, the spirit in which the movie was made, that was perfect.
I bow to all the Shaktis present here on this auspicious occasion of Navratri, and so to the Shiv present in you. Ma'am, my question as a layman is, what kind of behavioral aspects do we as corporates need to learn from Chandrayaan 1, 2, 3?
Behavioral aspects.
Yes. How can the employees in the organizations, what do we take as a learning part from this?
Okay, as we are all discussing, the equality with which we work, either it is Chandrayaan 1 or 2 or 3, what matters most is the talent and not the gender. That is what has been given always preference in ISRO, So if you, whether it's a men scientist or a women scientist, or in a corporate, whether it's a men leading the team or women leading the team or working for the team, if you are providing the solutions, that is taken up, that is taken. So it is very, very much. So we have to just ensure the lessons which I can say from ISRO, no discrimination, just respect the talent.
So there's one line to that is that, yes, the failure keeps you grounded, but success should keep you humble. I think that's another mantra that, the corporate world also should learn from ISRO.
No, other one is courage to talk also. So that is also very important.
Thank you for making successful Chandrayaan 3. My question is, मैम जो चंद्रयान 3 है वो बेसिकली मैम 14 डेज़ के लिए बनाया गया था, 14-15 डेज़ के लिए साउथ पोल पर कि वो अपने रिसर्च करेगा. फिर उसके बाद वो स्लीप मोड पर चला गया. तो उसके बाद अभी उससे रिकनेक्ट वापस से हो पाएगा या फिर क्या कहते हैं उसको इस तरीके से बनाया था वापस से रिकनेक्ट हो, वापस से मतलब उससे कनेक्शन बैठ पाए और हमारी रिसर्च और आगे बढ़े?
Yeah. No, you were asking about the revival of the lander, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, maybe a little technically also I'll address that. See, the total mission goal what we had defined for lander was 1 lunar day, which is equivalent to 14 Earth days. This is merely because the power source for the lander is from the solar power only. This is the only source. We did not carry an RTG or an RHU, you know, right? We did not have a radioisotope thermoelectric generator. So once this solar energy is not available, then lander goes into a deep cold mode. And this deep cold mode is a really harsh thermal environment of the order of minus 150 to minus 180 degrees centigrade. Lander is having a lot of avionics, very complicated electronic systems which have very sensitive electronic components. For these components to sustain two things are required. One is it requires a power source and also the thermal energy, because the temperature what we maintain is very, very important. Conducive temperature has to be maintained. But once it goes into the lunar cold cycle, it is not available. So we have to wait till the next lunar dawn, which is going to come with the solar power. But towards this, we knew this is going to be the environment. So we did build a scheme that is called the sleep and wake up scheme. We had built it. And towards this, to certain extent of test also we had done, because it is not very easy to subject the whole lander into such a deep cold test. Rover we had tested, and also power electronics we had tested, but not the whole system as such. But we did a good amount of assessment. So when we really went ahead, we were also like, we knew that it is going to be very challenging, but we did whatever required to certain extent possible, and we were also hoping for it, but not really. It's not that it will happen, but we did whatever possible we had built in, hoping for such a thing. But as we understand, the environment was very, very harsh, so it was not very conducive for the electronic.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am. I am Vansh from Apollo International School. So my question is, what was the thing that motivated you or gave you a motivation to become a scientist and come in the field of ISRO?
I tell you, you kids, if you have passion towards knowing something, your curiosity, to know further what is going on. So, for example, I want to just share with you, because when I was kid like you, see, when you see in sky, you see the moon, the size is increasing, or sometimes it is decreasing, and then it disappears. So why it happens? The questions, it should arise in your mind, and then also to understand, to always that, as I tell, curiosity, that is what is important, to know the unknowns, or to know which has not been yet explored, to explore. It takes place only at this age, at your age. So keep following your passion, keep finding, keep exploring, and work hard.
Keep asking questions.
Keep asking questions.
Yes. Next to you.
Yes, good evening, ma'am.
Yes, pucho.
Yes, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, so I'm Miten Gautam from class 8th from Modern Public School. So I want to ask that during the landing process of Chandrayaan 3, there was some 17 to 18 minutes of terror, like they were saying time of terror. So what was that?
Okay. Whom do you want to ask this terror question? I'm already scared. Kinse पूछने चाहोगे? Any one specific ma'am here? This side or this side?
Ma'am, you can answer.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
I'll take it.
I was definitely terrified as a journalist. हालांकि हमें ज़्यादा कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा था. We were having scientists in the studio and we were trying to understand what is happening. But I can tell you, I had lots of goosebumps. I was very excited. Yes, ma'am.
So it was around 20 minutes of terror. Definitely, I'll just briefly tell you why it is terror. Because you imagine the scenario, what is happening. This complete sequence is autonomous. So you don't have any control on the lander. And now what has to happen for soft landing is, to put it in simple forms, you are starting from a point A and you want to reach a point B. The point B is something which you have already identified. So you have to go to that point B because that is the safest point what you have identified. And when you're starting at point B, you are with a velocity of around 1.67 kilometer per second. So when you reach, when I say soft landing, what you mean is you have to kill this velocity and bring it to near 0 meter per second velocity. Got it right? You are completely slowing down that velocity and you have to touch down with near to 0 meter per second, because that is what your lander legs, you would have seen 4 legs, right, for the lander. So that is what the lander can withstand. That is the amount of velocity near to 0 meter per second, at least say 1 or so. It can withstand. That is the energy absorption system built in the lander leg. So what you have to do is 2 things. You have to reach the same point what you planned and you have to kill the velocity. Towards this, you cannot expect this to be, ideally it will follow the track, because there are many things, non-nominal things which can happen, which the lander has to take decision on its own actually. So if it has to continuously keep measuring where I am with respect to position and velocity, and if I am off track by certain extent, the lander has to take decision on its own actually. And because we had built multi-mission mode paths in the lander, so all these autonomous sequences which lander has to do on its own, kill the velocity and come to that final landing site point on its own, this is the terror. Because if anything you can do from here, then it is nothing challenging. For the lander to do everything on its own, that is the real challenge actually. You got it right? So
Thank you, ma'am. One girl here. Yes.
So, firstly, I want to say this that you guys really made our country proud and the whole ISRO team. I want to congratulate for that. And my question is that like our generation is really evolving and because of the technology. So I was asking that our generation, the kids, if they could also help in such missions or like any other like missions. So that's my question.
One last question from this row of very superlative kids.
Ma'am, I also want to become an ISRO scientist when I grow up. So how
Why?
I should go about
Why
it?
do you want to become ISRO scientist?
I have a particular interest in space science, that's why.
Which planet do you want to go? If given an opportunity.
Mars.
Okay. you already have a volunteer. Very good, very good.
So you want to know how to become a scientist, or you
How I should go about that?
see, as I always telling your other friends that you have to be continuously focused where you have to study, work hard, and there is no shortcuts. Simply learning the lessons without understanding, that will not help. You have to give your exams, but try to understand the basics. Understand each concepts what you are learning, whether it is going into, if it not going, keep asking your teachers. Just don't stop there. And also, as I told, perseverance. If something is not, you're not understanding, just don't stop. It will come, it will try to discuss with your friends or with your teachers, and don't give up. Nowadays I'm seeing the kids just suddenly they will get very, oh, what is this, I is not going, and like a lot of word I'm listening, depression and all that. That should not be there.
With that, we wrap up the interaction bit. And just to conclude the whole session, I'm going to come to each one of you. I can start with ma'am there. Yes. Your message to aspiring and budding scientists in particular, and to the nation as a whole. There are missions that, very, very critical missions that as we speak, you and your team are already working. Sky is not the limit for India. I think we have reached the skies. What would you like to say?
As a kid, we are imagining. Our imagination only takes you to the level where we are. Sky is not the limits. That is what we have proven now. Now we have to go beyond the sky. We have to go to the outer planets. We have to go to the galaxies. So there are a lot of things to learn. There are a lot of things to explore. So what I feel, our country, as the youngest country with the youngest population of more than 50% below the age of 25 years, we should encourage the children to dream from when we are in the school onwards. And the possibilities and opportunities in science field is limitless.
The children, the first thing is there is no limit for your dream, and see that the dream is coming true. So first thing is develop a curiosity. Just for an example, say honeybee structure, you see what the thing I am giving, it is all complete symmetry. That is the shape it has taken for your cellular network. So any science we are taking from the nature. So get the science from the nature. Another example, say your atta kneading compared to your rice flour kneading, there is a difference. You should ask your mother why that difference, because you should find out the chemistry behind the atta and the rice flour.
So basically,
the gluten is there in the nature. You try to learn the science from the nature is my advice to the kids.
Okay, ma'am, your parting note. India is right at the top. The world is watching India, especially when it comes to aerospace. What is the road ahead?
is enormous. It's not that we have reached all the parts in the space. Everybody is seeing all research, what is going on. But my question, what I wanted to give this younger generation is, we have at present only one planet. This planet, what we are doing, and in the space, whatever we have put junk, that will be the next problem for every one of us. So first of all, we should know whatever the other people have told from the nature, how we can protect our nature. For that, how the space we can utilize. There is lot of inventions and research our students and the younger generation can come back, and with the Gaganyaan mission and the upcoming future missions to Mars landing and other things, your people's interaction is really required. And younger generation, please think and innovate. Thank you.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so I'd like to bust one myth about rocket science. So rocket science is not just about geniuses and brainiacs.
Like they say, ये कोई rocket science नहीं है. लेकिन इसके पीछे क्या story?
Yeah. So the rocket science, I think, is more about hard work, resilience, and being perfect. So yeah, I encourage all the young people, especially, to take the path to learn, to work hard, to ask questions. I think that's the way forward, and that's the way the brighter young minds we have, the future is going to be better.
Just I want to say to all kids and the future of this country that, see, we have not yet, and if you go microscopic level in terms of quantum science, or if you go to macroscopic level in cosmos, we have not understood, we have only understood a minuscule part of it. There is much, much more needs to be explored and understood. And I am really sure, I'm sure that with all such missions, people have, and students have really got inspired. And we want to have much, much more Nobel Prize winners from all of you.
What I'm seeing is nothing but the future India, where people are without forgetting the food and all the hungerness, everything they're waiting for us to hear the talk from the Indian scientists. Whatever the future of how to become a scientist, how to do, what to do for the future. They're thinking about all those things. So that definitely tells that India has a bright future.
You all enjoyed this interaction? Yes. I did not hear you louder? Yes. Let's clap for them. Yes, ma'am.
Actually, Chandrayaan 3 has created a magic, I would say, because it has created a spark, or it has ignited a spark among the children. The number of handwritten letters, which at least I would have received, even from a third standard kid I have received, asking for some doubts, wishing. So I think this is a testimony of Chandrayaan 3's success. I think we as scientists, parents and teachers should not let go of this moment, I feel. We should capitalize this moment and we should take the children forward. I think they are the future of our country. This moment and this zeal or whatever environment what we are seeing, we should really capitalize this moment. And I think right time only, you have also started off this STEM program. It's a culmination of both, I feel. It is the right time, both have happened, and really we should take our children forward. This moment we should capitalize is what I feel actually.
Well, with that, we have to wrap it up here. They say all good things must come to an end. At least this panel discussion, we had to conclude. But then, वो जो journey है इनके missions की, जहाँ हम कहते हैं sky is not the limit for India. India has already breached the skies also. That journey will continue, and I must tell all our ISRO powerhouse women scientists here that you have the prayers of the nation with you day in and day out. Well, that's it that we have for you in this exclusive edition that we bring to you from the sidelines of India's STEM Summit Awards 2023. This exclusively on DD News, DD India. Quickly thank, with a huge round of applause, each and every one of you present here. Dr. Ritu Karidhal Srivastav, also thanking Nandini Harinath. Claps should not subside. Please taali bajate rahiye. Also thanking Kalpana K, thanking Seena Sunil, and thank you very much Gomati Sharatha and Ms. Rupa MV, all ISRO top brains for joining us on the show, and Kalpana Arvind as well. With that, let's wrap up from here. Namaskar.